You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
Hello, listeners, and happy almost 2020. I really appreciate you all tuning into my podcast, Myers-Briggs Question Corner. And please, if you haven't done so, do subscribe so you don't miss an episode. In 2020, I'll continue adding new episodes weekly for as long as I can, but I need your help in promoting them so that I can continue to remain advertisement-free. We're now in the midst of the 2019 holiday season, and in continuing with my holiday theme, I'd like to use the new year to expand on a short Myers-Briggs article I wrote a few years back entitled Myers-Briggs New Year's Career Resolutions. In this podcast, I'll share a common career resolution each Myers-Briggs type is likely to make, along with some career advice as we move into 2020. Let's start with ISTJ.
I vow not to get stuck in the details of the job description, important though they are.
ISTJs, as we know, are prone to getting stuck in the details of whatever it is they're working on. Now, I, of all people, greatly appreciate someone who's able to see all the minutiae I very conveniently miss, but the danger in living in the weeds is that you lose sight of the bigger picture. For example, the overall goal you're trying to achieve. So, ISTJs, if you're job searching, details, thoroughness, rules, and what's worked in the past are your comfort zone, and these may take precedence over the greater good. If you're not getting the results you want in your job search, it's time to stop whatever it is you're doing and reevaluate. Talk to a skilled career counselor or coach for a new perspective. Now, moving on to ISFJ.
Although I'm just trying to help, I'll resist the urge to clean up other people's messes.
ISFJs have a tendency to clean up after other people, especially their loved ones. At work, this often takes the form of helping their teammates when they're struggling. ISFJs just cannot handle mistakes being made. They may really stress themselves in their quest for perfectionism. But ISFJs, there are times when people need to learn themselves, and sometimes that means failing. If you can relate to any of this, stop and rethink what you're doing. If you're job searching, recognize that there is no perfect job. If other people have dumped too much on you, it's time to start saying no. And by all means, use 2020 to invest in your own well-being. Make sure you've got a healthy diet and you're getting enough sleep and exercise. You're no good to anyone if you don't take care of yourself first. Next is INFJ.
I'll stop trying to read my co-workers' emotions. I already know them better than they know themselves.
Oh, INFJ, you may be exceptionally skilled at reading other people, and by that I mean the core of who they are, not the facade they present. But face it, most people don't want to be read. It can be intimidating for others to learn that you have this skill. Think about it. Would you want your coworker to know your deep, dark secrets? But more importantly, your reactions towards other people are often clouded by your own emotions. One of the best things you can do for yourself, INFJ, is to resist the urge to retreat into yourself and share what you're thinking or feeling with your team. Many people have no idea what's going on in your head, and there are times when a few words of praise or direct statements about something that you need or want accomplished will go a long way. If you're job searching, seek out a networking group or a group of like-minded individuals to check in with. Even in our age of technology, most jobs are found as a result of your connections. The more people you know, the more potential opportunities you have. If you live in the Washington, D.C. metro, check out my article, Networking Success in the DMV, available on my website, www.atopcareer.com, for more networking tips. Moving on to INTJ.
I'll try to better understand people. Just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand.
Oh, INTJ, how I love you. And I do mean that in the truest way possible. There is no other who takes on a challenge as readily as you and does it with such a sense of superiority that anything I say can and will be used against me. And yes, that's how you unknowingly come across to others, an arrogant know-it-all jerk. Yes, you're smart, but no, you're not really all that likable. I happen to be the exception to the rule on that one. The solution? Fake it. Winning over a hiring manager has a lot to do with your likability, much to your chagrin, INTJ. But likability isn't something you're born with. It has a lot to do with your emotional intelligence. Here's something for you to practice in 2020. Friendliness. You may be so focused on yourself that you don't take the time to notice others. To win over whoever it is who's going to hire or promote you, let your guard down and show that you're a nice person underneath that nasty scowl. Warm up your face, note your body language, and pay attention to what others are saying. Make them feel at ease. This will help others appreciate you and encourage a solid relationship built on confidence and trust. Let's move on to ISTP.
I'll try not to cut through the useless red tape.
Okay, ISTP, we know you don't operate at your best under tight structures and schedules, and it's in your nature to solve problems in your own way. But remember that rules and procedures are there for a reason, not so you can skip over the boring parts which you think you're already proficient in. This can really get you in trouble in your job search, and when it comes to such things as writing a resume that will get through the applicant tracking systems or developing a strategy for your next career move. 2 thoughts here to help you. First, enlist the assistance of a procedural SJ or sensing judging friend who has the patience to help you with the more detailed aspects of your job search. Secondly, check out JobScan, www.jobscan.co. This resource will help you tailor your resume to ensure it gets read by an actual human being, not a computer, and then you'll have a better chance of landing the interview that you want. Now, let's talk about ISFP.
I won't repress my feelings, especially when I make those who wronged me feel guilty.
Okay, ISFP, time to address that passive-aggressive streak that you have. Face it, when your anger isn't expressed directly, you're going to have a harder time solving problems. You're probably feeling something really intense on the inside, ISFP, but your demeanor remains flat on the outside. While the recipient of your anger may pick up on some nonverbal behavioral cues if they're a close friend or family member, the person who wronged you or even others may have absolutely no clue how pissed off you really are. Use 2020 to express yourself in a healthy way. If you're angry, frustrated, or resentful, communicate that to others in a way they can hear. Check in with a trusted friend or colleague who will tell you honestly how you're coming across to others. In short, you don't want to let whatever anger you're feeling get in the way of moving forward in your life. Let's talk about INFP next.
I'll try to stop daydreaming, but let me have a hypothetical conversation with myself about that first.
INFP, you're the type most likely to ruminate, and that can lead to depression, which can lead to all sorts of productivity and work performance issues. Now, daydreaming isn't all bad, and your goal absolutely should not be to stop it altogether. Daydreaming is part of what makes you wonderful, INFP. According to Tasha Eurich, author of one of my favorite books, Insight, there are 2 types of self-awareness, internal and external. INFPs, you're often masters of internal self-awareness, that is, identifying the emotions associated with why you're feeling the way you are. But you may be so busy looking inward that you neglect to think about how you're showing up to others, avoiding or ignoring feedback, and that can send you down some unnecessary rabbit holes. The fact is that others are going to judge you, and in job interviews, first impressions are everything. Practice your nonverbals, eye contact, smiling, etc., and show you're likable and open to the other person. Check out my article, 15 Ways to Show Emotional Intelligence in the First 15 Seconds, available on my website, www.atopcareer.com. Now, moving on to INTP.
I'll stop noticing contradictions in other people's behaviour. but I'll still switch sides in a debate if you agree with me.
Okay, INTPs, you don't know what you don't know. And most of the time, that's how awkward you make things for other people. It doesn't have to be that way, INTP. My 2020 career advice for you, my friends, is to seek to understand, not to analyze. Yes, your logic is your greatest strength, but it's ultimately not going to win over your interviewer or the person offering you a promotion. However illogical it may seem to you, you've got to engage with people, and that means understanding their point of view. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. If you want other people to take your logic seriously, you'll need to build your image through communicating your motives. Don't assume other people understand where you're coming from. You can make a game of this. Practice verbal and nonverbal behavior with your colleagues. Ask them about their perspectives and engage with them sincerely. But don't fake it, INTP. Remember that every person you encounter knows something that you don't. Try to find out what that thing is, even if it doesn't fit nice and neatly into your own worldview. The people who get hired and promoted don't just display technical knowledge, but they have good people and communication skills that propel them ahead. Next is ESTP.
I've been told I need to read more professional journals, but that's boring and unnecessary, so I probably won't.
ESTPs are incredibly impatient people. They're quick thinkers, doers, and quite often rule breakers. They often don't bode well in more structured corporate environments with established protocol in place. Now, is reading a big, thick book about theoretical management best practices the best way for an ESTP to learn? Probably not. It'll end up being a colossal waste of time. They want to get started now, and they'll defy authority to get their way. One way their personalities can get the best of them in the job search is that ESTPs may make some rash or irresponsible decisions disregarding how their impulsiveness may affect others, including their loved ones or their teams at work. Here's your task for 2020, ESTP. Make the monotonous tasks you must do fun. Let's take writing your resume. We've all got to do it, and it's definitely something you need to take the time to do well. Here's a solution. Make a game of it. Whatever you can do to make the task more enjoyable, by all means do it. You can also stay productive by working in short bursts of energy and take regular breaks so you don't get bogged down. Now, if you need a refresher on resumes and you're in the DC area, be sure to check out one of my resume workshops, 6 Steps to a Brilliant Resume, offered regularly in Arlington, Virginia. I promise to keep the session fun and engaging for you, ESTP. Now, ESFP.
Yes, boss. I'll stop going to parties on school nights and coming to work hungover.
Oh, ESFP, your partying ways are going to get the best of you. Socializing is important, but not at the expense of your schoolwork or your job. And I hate to be the person to say you're going to regret this someday, but you're going to regret this someday. I know you're naturally curious and you need your freedom, but you've got to remember that other people don't operate on your schedule. In the workplace, time is money, and most people work best with some type of structure and rules in place. At work, be clear and direct, and don't be late. For 2020, how about working on your time management skills? Don't worry, I'm not going to overwhelm you here, and this could actually be made fun. Get a planner that you can customize and put together your top 3 goals for the week in color with stickers, whatever you can do to personalize it. And have a person, a mentor, friend, or family member who can check in with you to make sure you're setting and following your goals. Let's move on to ENFP.
I won't come up with any more new ideas for exciting career paths. Hey, is Idea Generator an actual job title?
The grass is always greener to an ENFP, and I know this all too well as an ENFP myself. Every ENFP I know has struggled with finding a career path because there are just so many intriguing possibilities out there, and we excel at brainstorming and getting people to rally around our clever new ideas. And we absolutely suck at follow-through. So, ENFPs tuning in, Here are 2 things for you to focus on in 2020 that will dramatically improve your career development prospects. First, prioritize your 2 or 3 big goals for 2020. Don't get sucked into the 10 or 20 mildly interesting things that pop up on your radar, and make sure those 2 or 3 big goals are stimulating to you, actual things you want to accomplish. Now, this next one is going to be key for your success. Enlist the help of a J friend, preferably an SJ friend, someone to help you make a timeline and organize yourself and hold you accountable. Having a deadline when things must be completed will help. And by all means, resist those rabbit holes, intriguing though they are. Next is ENTP.
I'll continue to believe that I have the potential to dominate the world. I'll also continue to be too lazy to implement a strategy to do it.
ENTP, you misunderstood rebel you. You love to fantasize about all sorts of big picture possibilities, and you hate to be in the mundane world of peons, i.e. everyday life. ENTP, you have so much potential to do well in your career, but it gets hindered by your tendency to get sidetracked, or procrastinate, or outright laziness. ENTPs admit it. This tendency of yours has caused you to lose out on more than one opportunity in your life. So it's time to put an end to it. 2 techniques to help you in 2020. One is to give yourself an earlier deadline. For you, it's about the challenge. So adding levels of difficulty to boring tasks, such as pushing up the deadline to get it done quicker, might actually help you accomplish the thing that's looming over your head. Second, give yourself an incentive or reward. This can help you come up with a little game to get things done, and it'll make the process so much more fun than it would be otherwise. If all else fails, just do it. Once it's out of the way, you can focus more on your Machiavellian plans that you probably won't achieve. Time for ESTJ.
I'll make an effort to listen to people more, but it's their duty to fit in.
ESTJs, you are so gosh darn morally superior and judgmental. You have some kind of embedded need to impose your viewpoints on everyone you come across, and that's pretty hard to take. Stop for a minute and think about how you sound. Really ponder that, ESTJ. I'll bet that you don't mean to come across as a micromanaging know-it-all, do you? But that's how you often sound. So give other people a chance in 2020. Believe it or not, when people give advice, they're probably doing so because they care, and their advice may not necessarily be misguided and not applicable to you, my ESTJ friend. Just as important as your beliefs and needs are to you, others are equally important to them. So it's time to work on a win-win situation, or at least a compromise. Step outside yourself and expand your focus in your career. Whether you're job searching or have an important goal in 2020, don't dismiss the needs of the employers you're targeting or the group you're working with. Include their needs into your own perspective. Winning over those employers or top dogs who will give you that promotion isn't about you. It's about them and their needs. Think about what you can do for them. Next is ESFJ.
I'll stop pretending to listen to people and actually listen, if I like them.
ESFJ, time to face the music. You're not the most patient of people. If you have your mind on something, you can be the most impossible person to deal with. With that said, you'll do anything for the people you care about, but that's really based on what moral tradition dictates or what authority figures say should be done. As a result, you, ESFJ, can fall into the trap of closing yourself off from people who have different beliefs or people who have a different perspective than you do. And it may seem that you don't like these people. The fact is that our world runs most effectively when people have different perspectives. So make 2020 the year that you realize that different doesn't mean wrong. Other people's views shouldn't be shunned just because they're not the same as yours. One way your traditional approach can get in the way, ESFJ, is if you're a mid or senior level job seeker and you're only targeting jobs that fit nice and neatly into your worldview or larger, more well-known employers. Your odds of success may actually increase if you pursue opportunities off the beaten path. Smaller, lesser-known companies may be thrilled to have someone with your experience. So don't discount potential prospects that come your way just because they're unusual. If you give them the chance, you may end up liking them. Let's talk about ENFJs now.
I want to stop pleasing my co-workers because they really don't deserve it, but I'll feel guilty if I do.
Guilt is the Achilles heel of NF personality types, and it's especially true for ENFJs. My ENFJ friends, I understand that your goal in life is to get approval from others as much as possible, and as a result, you draw perhaps 90% of your satisfaction in life from pleasing the people around you. It's an awful place to be in a lot of ways because your talent and intelligence gets overlooked and wasted, and you become empty. It's a hard lesson to learn not to put so much stock in how other people perceive you, but it's a necessary one for your personal and career development. In 2020, it's time to work on setting some healthy boundaries, ENFJ. A few ways to do this: share the responsibility. You don't have to know everything. Other people enjoy helping too, so let them. Second, know your priorities. Know your bottom line and what makes you uncomfortable so that you'll know when to say no. Third, recognize that you have a choice. You choose whether to help that person or not. And if they get upset if you say no, that's their problem, not yours. Most likely it's their own fear or anger talking, and it has nothing to do with you, so don't let it affect you. Last, but certainly not least, is the ENTJ.
I'm perfect. Lead, follow, or get out of my way.
ENTJ, you are nothing short of a bulldozer. You're so unapproachable, yet here I am. And I am not merely a plaything unworthy of your time and attention, ENTJ. So, I'm going to give it to you straight. You decide stuff way too quickly. I mean, stop pushing to the front of the line for just a minute and think about it. You've been wrong, really wrong. And when you were, disastrous things happened. Don't be that person again. It's 2020. Take a much-needed chill pill, ENTJ. In your haste to be master and commander of all, you alienate the very people you need as allies. But more importantly, you hurt yourself. This year, when you have an important decision to make, stop and sit with it for some time. In doing this, you'll allow yourself to feel and see what can happen as a result of your decisions, and you'll stop sabotaging your own happiness. Take a vacation, cut yourself off from the world for a couple days, and allow yourself some time to appreciate how far you've come. There's always going to be more work to do, ENTJ. Life's way too short not to enjoy the people and activities you work for. And there you have it, my listening friends. May 2020 be the year when all of your career goals are realized. And if you find this podcast helpful and informative, I'd very much appreciate if you can share it with your network. It's very important for me to stay advertisement free, but I can only do that with your help and support. Thank you so much in advance, and all the best to you this year.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.